granniopteryx, granniopteryx. She knows the truth, she's linking every link.
Hello, I'm making this video more as a public service than anything else because Graham Linehan has been arrested when he came back to Britain. I don't know where he was before, but part of his bail conditions are that he can't communicate by Twix with the outside world. So I'm going to communicate for him. That's it. Right, I'm Granniopteryx. Please like this video. Yeah, just click the like now. If you don't like what I've said, that's all right. Towards the end of the video, you can unclick it. But meanwhile, do it now while you remember. And share the video, yeah, especially for the sake of Graham Linehan, and subscribe to my channel. Yeah, that's it. And if you want to contribute financially, all the platforms that you can use to contribute to my channel are listed in the description. All right, let's just talk about Graham Linehan, should we? Now, if you don't know who Graham Linehan is, he is a writer. He's also done some stand-up comedy, I believe. And what happened was he decided to come down on the side of the gender critical some time ago, and he was cancelled by everyone. Now, this is what he created. He created a show called Motherland. I don't know that one. He created Count Arthur Strong, the TV series. I didn't like that one. He created a show called Hippies, of which I have never heard. He created a show called Big Train. I have heard of that. Wasn't that much engaged. He created a show called The IT Crowd, which has had much appreciation from a lot of people. I didn't watch it, but that was only because I just didn't have the time. He created a show called Black Books. I haven't heard of that either. And he created Father Ted. And that is one of the funniest shows you have. If you haven't seen any Father Ted episodes, you have actually missed out on life. Now, as you can see, I don't know much about his other shows, but if only for Father Ted, that man is a genius, and he has given a gift to the world, a gift of real laughter. And of course, the sour-faced people of the gender affirmation crew don't like him because he says, well, he actually speaks the truth, doesn't he? There are only two sexes, and there are a lot of people with there are hundreds of different sorts of psychological disturbance. Now, I just want to point something out. There are some people who are genuine trans, and there is a psychological problem there, but they handle it their way. They stay quiet about it. They don't make a fuss. And, you know, they use, for instance, men who live as women. They dress like women, not like pantomime dames. They dress like women. They don't make a fuss. They go into women's lavatories and they just walk in, go into the cubicle, shut the door, do what they have to do, come out, maybe check their lipstick on the way out and go. And they don't make a spectacle of themselves. But recently there have been people with genuine psychological disturbance, and in my opinion, it's mostly to do with a psychopathic hatred of women. And they dress up in ridiculous clothes, and they make a real nuisance of themselves in women's lavatories. And Graham Linehan was upset about this because he has a daughter, or maybe two, I don't know. Anyway, he has family. And he thought, what if that happened to my daughter, if she was in a changing room or a women's convenience and one of these sorts of people came in? and started leering at her, and then when questioned would say, "But I'm a lady," or words to that effect. So he got himself good and cancelled, even by people he thought were colleagues and friends in many ways. Well, it turns out there are no friends in the world of entertainment. And all that sort of ethical, be kind stuff is a front. Well, I knew that, but obviously this gave Graham Linehan a bit of a shock. Now, hang on a minute. So here's Linehan. He's in hospital because the arrest caused him to get a blood pressure reading of over 200, which is stroke territory, isn't it? So this is Graham Linehan being treated for high blood pressure. I have high blood pressure, and once or twice my blood pressure's spiked and I've gone to the A&E and they just gave me a pill. It looks like, now, hold that thought. It looks like he's getting much better treatment than I ever got. Something odd happened before I even boarded the flight in Arizona, he said. When I handed over my passport at the gate, the official told me I didn't have a seat and I had to be re-ticketed. At the time, I thought it was just the sort of innocent snafu that makes air travel such a joy. I loathe air travel. I really do hate it. I was in an airport once, and as I was trekking out, dragging my carry-on, little bag with me, and I remarked to the guy who was similarly dragging his carry-on towards the plane that I do hate air travel. I do hate airports. And he said, "No, you mustn't ever say that. That just makes it worse." And it turned out he is some sort of a psychologist. And he said, "Try and put it in a more positive way. Don't say you hate it. Say you find it inconvenient," or something like that. Yeah, all right. Well, maybe I still hate it. Okay, right. That makes air travel such a joy. You know, I think when they came up with airports, you know, the Stanford prison experiment. Well, you know, you go into airports and they do treat passengers badly a lot of the time. It used to be that passengers were like honoured guests, but that quickly deteriorated in the years of fast, cheap travel. And now, literally, you are bullied by the airport staff, especially the ones on the plane, because they can throw you off. You know, they can really mess up your life. And they know that. And we're right straight into a Stanford prison experiment. I think that's what I find so unsettling about the whole business. But to return to Mr. Linehan. Okay, at the time, makes air travel such a joy. But in hindsight, it was clear I'd been flagged. Someone, somewhere, probably wearing unconvincing makeup and his sister, wife's, mum's underwear, had made a phone call. The moment I stepped off the plane at Heathrow, 5 armed officers were waiting. Not 1, not 2, but 5. They escorted me to a private area, told me I was under arrest for 3 tweets. In a country where paedophiles escape sentencing, where knife crime is out of control, where women are assaulted and harassed every time they gather to speak, the state had mobilised 5 armed officers to arrest a comedy writer for this tweet. And no, I promise you, I'm not making it up. Now, if I repeat these tweets, I might get arrested. Right. Graham Linehan, if a trans-identified male is in a female-only space, he's committing a violent, abusive act. Make a scene, call the cops, and if all else fails, punch him in the nether regions. Okay, I'm not that mad. Okay, he says here a photo you can smell. I don't actually get that. And this one. I hate them, misogynists and homophobes, FM. Okay, right. So that's what he said. And even though I have slightly censored that, I am probably still in the firing line. Yeah, all right. I was just thinking, you see, here he is in the hospital. Now, as I said, I get high blood pressure. Well, I have high blood pressure. I take medication for it. It's not age. I've been taking it since I was in my late 30s. I put it down to the stressful childhood I had. But if it sometimes spikes and I get really high blood pressure, I think I'd rather be arrested, because it looks like he got priority treatment. When I go to A&E and I have to sit there waiting for 3 or 4 or 5 hours until my high blood pressure has spiked so much I fall over or something. So yeah, it's probably worth the effort of getting arrested. I'll probably get better medical attention. Anyway, let's go back to this. When I first saw the cops, I actually laughed. I couldn't help myself. Don't tell me you've been sent by trans activists. The officers gave no reaction, and this was the theme throughout most of the day. Among the rank and file, there was a sort of polite bafflement. Entirely professional and even kind, but most had absolutely no idea what any of this was about. And that's the problem, you see. These guys, they're just following orders. We've heard that one before, haven't we? Anyway, all his stuff was confiscated. He was put in a cell. He said he fell asleep because he'd been on a transatlantic flight and he hadn't slept much on the transatlantic flight. So mercifully, he was tired and he actually passed the time by sleeping. During the interview itself, the tone shifted. The officer conducting it asked about each of the terrible tweets in turn, with the sort of earnest intensity usually reserved for something serious like, oh, I don't know, crime? I explained that the punch tweet was a serious point made with a joke. Men who enter women's spaces are abusers and need to be challenged. And the punch in the nether regions bit was about the height difference between men and women. And then one of the female officers said, we're not all that small, which is right. But yeah, there is a way of doing it without being too small as well. I won't go into that now, but I have learnt it. He mentioned, that's the officer questioning him, trans people. I asked him what he meant by the phrase. And then he says, people who feel their gender is different than what was assigned at birth. And Linehan, God bless him, he said, assigned at birth, our sex isn't assigned. Even there, he wasn't going to give way. I'm not so sure that I would have been quite so bolshy at that particular juncture. The officer called it semantics. I told him he was using activist language. The damage Stonewall has done to the UK police force will take years to mend. Eventually, a nurse came to check on me and found my blood pressure was over 200, stroke territory. The stress of being arrested for jokes was literally threatening my life, so I was escorted to A&E, where he probably got attention straight away because, of course, they don't want to keep the police hanging about. So that's it. If I get arrested for relaying Graham Linehan's tweet at Twix, then maybe, for sure, my blood pressure is going to go up and maybe I'll get some proper treatment at long last. The doctors suggested that high blood pressure was stress-related. I'll give the man a cigar. The police, for the most part, were consistently decent throughout this farce. Some were even Father Ted fans. I don't know how anyone can not be a Father Ted fan. Thank God the Catholic Church never had with the police the special relationship granted to trans activists. The female officers seemed more tuned into what was actually happening. One mentioned the Sandy Peggy case in a certain way, and I realised I was among friends even if they couldn't admit it. I'm quite sure that the female police officers will be quite badly impacted by this trans business, because I'm not sure, but it was the case that women arrestees have been examined by male police officers who were pretending they were women. And I'm quite sure a lot of the female police officers knew about this and didn't like it that much. They might even have been forced to share a changing room with somebody like the doctor involved in the Sandy Peggy case. If you don't know about the Sandy Peggy case, she was a nurse. She was, I've forgotten the name of the doctor. Upton. She was getting changed in the female changing room, and Dr. Upton, who has been dressing as a woman but still is fully equipped as a man, came in and started changing, and he was watching her while she was getting undressed. Actually, she was dealing with a matter of intimate femininity. She was having quite a heavy period at the time, and that must have been hideously embarrassing for her, and she asked Dr. Upton, she told him he shouldn't be there, I think, and that started a court case for which the Scottish people are still paying, I believe. OK, I looked at the single bail condition. I am not to go on Twitter, that's it. No threats, no speeches about the seriousness of my crimes, just a legal gag order designed to shut me up while I'm in the UK. And a demand I face a further interview in October. Epilogue. At one point I said, I bet I know who made this complaint, Lindsay Watson. And then he says, demented ex-copper Troon who was fired for his online conduct. Then, lo and behold, one of my lawyers sent me this reply to the B tweet. Sarah sticking with the truth. That weirdo ex-copper claims he has reported this to the police and is trying to get other Troons to do so. Just FYI. So he knew. Watson is also involved in my other case on Thursday and Friday at London Westminster Magistrates Court. And trans activists are planning to protest. All right, well, yeah, that's it. That is what's happened to Graham Linehan. I just thought you'd be interested in knowing about it. And the answer is, if you have anything wrong with you, that you want immediate medical attention for, then it might be an idea to be a bit intemperate on Twix. And if you get arrested, you see, you'll get medical attention straight away. And it looks like pretty good medical attention as well. It's not just a pill here. They're actually feeding him the proper drugs straight away. OK. Oh, that's it. Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.